Welcome to Heating Geeks. I have a little problem with the heating industry that I want to sort of go through now. I'm going to show you a couple of videos and some photos to explain what's wrong with me. Now, this is a true story. Maybe you'll have an opinion on this, maybe. And you might think I'm completely wrong for doing it or irresponsible for doing this. So you can put it all in the comments and we discuss it. So this is one of my favourite repairs from last year, and let me set the scene for you. Okay, I had just finished a service on a job in Wood Green in North London, and I got back in the van and an old gentleman in his 60s or 70s came and knocked on the window. If you're a British gas engineer, you're used to that sort of thing happening. I'm not a British gas engineer, so it was quite unusual, but he'd seen the lanyard around my neck and saw that I was gas safe. So what he said was he had an intermittent problem on his boiler, and two other engineers had been out, and three other engineers, apologies, had been out and wouldn't fix the boiler. They said he needed a new one, and they weren't even prepared to have a look at it. And he paid these guys, but he wanted someone to actually look at it to see if they could fix it. So he also said it was quite attached to this boiler. He'd had it 25 years, and he'd had no problems with it except this. And he also didn't have the money to buy a new appliance. So I went and had a look at it. On arrival, I found a Vaillant thermocompact from 1992.
It was at this point.
That's right, 1992. That is a long time ago. The boiler's nearly as old as me. So the boiler wasn't firing with demand. You'd get demand from the external controls, the boiler would just sit there. So I spent some time, as you would on a boiler of that sort of vintage, and traced the issue to the fan wasn't getting any power from the PCBs. And when I say PCBs, it's because this boiler has 3 or 4, and on the other models, the combi models, it has 5. And if you remember these boilers, you have to know if it's hybrid or not, and there's a lot of intricacies to this boiler. Anyway, I found the problem was one of the PCBs not sending out power. Now, unfortunately for this old man, part was obsolete. So, what was I going to do for this poor customer? So let's skip forward a couple of months, and I attended another job now in East London. This property had no gas, it was all electric. The customer had an electric boiler, and it wasn't providing any heating or hot water. 2 other companies had been out and not resolved the issue. So this is what I found on my arrival. I found a boiler that would start, and then within a few seconds it would lock out. Let's see what happens here. The customer gave me a little bit more information on my arrival, and they said that if they sat up in that loft and pressed the reset button constantly, tripped out, eventually that boiler would that boiler would turn on and it would run. So that gave me a little bit of an idea, and I thought I'd try and test my theory. So this is what's going down now.
You fail.
See what happens now, shall we? It's on. Let's turn this light off. Look at that. Fixed it with a Babyliss. Again, I found a PCB issue. And again, the part was obsolete. So, can you guess what happened next? On the first boiler for the old gentleman, I decided to look a little bit deeper, and I found this dry connection on the PCB that I thought might be causing the problem. So what would you do? I guess most people like me would try and get the heating and hot water up and running for the customer. So that's what I did. I resoldered the joint, put all the PCBs back into the box and turned on the boiler. This is what happened. One very happy customer. Customer for life now. So let's go back to the electric boiler that I fixed with the Babyliss. Obviously this boiler wasn't fixed, but this had given me a little bit more knowledge and I kind of knew what was wrong with it. So I replaced this unbranded capacitor that was on the PCB with a known high quality brand capacitor from Japan.
There you go, got that resoldered.
I then tested the boiler and this is what happened.
Perfect.
Another very happy customer. So they all lived happily ever after. Obviously this is just a story and no one would repair a PCB like this unless you're British Gas and then you remanufacture it. So where do you draw the line? I'm sure if you used to work on the old Potterton Puma or the Baxi combis, the PCB used to always fail at exactly the same point. Very easy repair. So was the first repair okay and the second repair not? So what would I be if I'd done these things? So if you've ever worked on the Glowworm CXI that used to have the fan not run, you'll know what you used to do. They used to heat a couple of bits on the board and it would bring it back to life and then you'd order a new PCB. Anyway, I feel dirty now. I'm going into hiding.